So welcome to the Lifeline Project Action Cooking class. So today I'm going to demonstrate two recipes. I'm going to demonstrate overnight oats, and then we're going to do a trail mix. So first of all, the first thing we always do when we're going to cook is we're going to wash our hands. So my sink is right here, so I'm going to wash my hands so my hands are clean. Okay, so everyone wash their hands. Great. All right. So after our hands are washed, we're going to begin cooking. So first for overnight oats. So this is kind of a two-part recipe. So the first thing we do is we're going to make the oat mixture, and then the second thing we do is we rest it overnight, or at least for 5 hours, right? So this will be in the refrigerator overnight. So I've made some the night before so you can see what it looks like. But what you'll do is you'll make it in the next morning. If you want to have it for breakfast, you'll take it out and you'll see how it looks. It'll look very different from when we started. So for this recipe, we have 4 ingredients. So the first one is, as we not surprisingly, are oats, right? And oats are a grain for our food groups. And then we have milk. So this is a reduced fat milk. And I have non-fat Greek yogurt. So the final thing that we have here, let me grab it, which you may not have and maybe not used before, are chia seeds. So these have a lot of omega-3s. They're very healthy for you. They have a lot of pretty high in protein for their size, and they also have quite a bit of fiber. So they're a very healthy thing. If you don't have them, you can leave them out. But I have them, so I'm going to put them in. Okay, so the first thing we do, we should have our measuring cups, right? So you can see on the side here, I'm going to start with a half cup measure, right? So this is our half cup. The orange is the half cup. I'm going to start with a half cup of the oats. So we're going to measure out the oats, right? So you want to see that it's flat, right? So we have just an even amount of oats in there. So that's our oats. And then we're going to put in we still use our half cup measure. We're going to put in a half cup of our milk. So I will put that in. Here we go. So can you fill it up to the top, and then you pour in the oats, right? So that is our milk. And then still using our half cup measure, we are going to use a half cup of our yogurt. So let me grab that. So I have my spoon. Set this side so you can all see what I'm doing. So we're going to fill up our measuring cup with our yogurt. There we go. So this is vanilla yogurt, and it's kind of nice to use the vanilla, but you don't have to. If you have a flavor that you like, if you really like a peach yogurt, go ahead and use that instead. So again, whatever you feel like that is tasty for you, go ahead and use it. It gives you some options in terms of what your personal preferences are. What you want to pay attention to, so again, I'm putting the measurement in there. What you want to pay attention to with yogurts is when we look at our label, right, is the sugars. This one has quite a bit of added sugars, right? So this has 21%, so that's high, and I actually recommend using lower than that. But you want to look at that on your label when you're shopping, because you can get quite a bit lower sugars. You want to have, throughout your day, you don't want to be adding too much additional sugars from naturally occurring ones to your diet. Okay, so the last thing we're going to add are our chia seeds, right? Our chia seeds. So for that, we're going to use 1 teaspoon, and that's our purple measuring spoon, right? So let me measure that out. I'm just going to go in here. And again, you just want it to be a flat measure, right? So it's flat across. You can see that, right? It's not sticking up. It's not mounded on the top. And we just sprinkle that in there. And then we just stir it up. So you just want to have it all well mixed. And so what's going to happen overnight is that the oats are going to absorb all this liquid that's in here. So you can see it's pretty soupy, right? It's very liquidy, it's very loose, right? See how it just kind of, you can see how that goes, right? Kind of ploppy, right? But so that's how it looks. So you can put this in like a Tupperware container, or you can just put a piece of plastic wrap over this and just put it in the fridge overnight. Okay, so I'm going to grab what I've already made. So these are the oats. So these are the oats that I've made before, and so I'll put them in a bowl. But you'll be able to see they are very thick now. So can you see how thick they are? I have some strawberries already put in there. But you can see it's very thick, right? It's like, see, it won't even come off the spoon, right? That's how thick they got overnight. So that's that. And so what you can do then is you can mix in a whole bunch of stuff to this. It's kind of, again, it depends on your personal preference. So you can mix in cinnamon. So that's probably what I'll do, right? You can mix in cinnamon. You could take an orange and you could take off the peel on the outside and get that orange flavor in there. You could add a little bit of vanilla. You could chop up some nuts and put nuts in there, right? So nuts has protein. And you could put in some dried fruit. You could put in fresh fruit. So I'm going to put in some fresh fruit, right? So I have some strawberries. So I'm going to just pop some. I'm going to, put cinnamon on top of it, right? Because cinnamon's really it's a really nice spice, and it's also good for you, right? So we have some cinnamon on there, and then I'll grab my knife, and we will chop up a few strawberries and put those on top, right? See me doing that, right? You take the top off and then just slice them. You can sprinkle those on top, right? And so this amount in here is about half the amount that we made. So it's a little bit. So you could probably almost get 2 meals out of it, but it's using the half of cup of oatmeal. So that's what our overnight oats can look like, right? Right. So again, you can customize it to what your personal tastes are. So right, so this meal has what? It has 2 grains. It has the chia seeds, which is a grain. It has the oatmeal, which is a grain, and it has 2 dairy products: the milk and the yogurt. So again, it uses 2 of our food groups. And then what did we add? I added some fruit, right? So then the fruit adds. So we have a fruit added, and then again, if you added nuts, that would add a protein. So you can get kind of almost a complete plate there. So that's the first thing we're making today. All right, so the second thing we're going to make is our granola mix. So for this, we are going to use, it's going to be a mixture of raw nuts, and then also some dried fruit, and then finally you can add some other kind of mix-ins to it. So what I'm going to use today for my nuts, for this we're going to want 1 cup of nuts, right? So this is our cup measure, the blue one. So I have my bowl here. So I'm going to do 2 different kinds of nuts, but you could do 3, right? So I'm going to use almonds, again a protein, and peanuts, which are also protein, but you could use pistachios if you like them, pecans, walnuts, whatever your preference is. So that's, again, it's nice to kind of be able to adjust recipes so that they're things that you like. All right. So here's put a little bit of our nuts in. Okay. I'm going to do about half and half, right? So that's going to be my mix. It's going to be half peanuts and then half almonds. So I'll lift it up so you can see it. So you're going to want to fill that in again. So just about a cup. Kind of again fill it to the top, right? So here's our nuts, both ways. Okay, so I'll put that in there. All right. So the next we're going to do is we're going to do dried fruit. So, and for this, we're going to use a half a cup, right? So I'm going to rinse out our half cup measure that we just used. Just give me 1 second here. Okay. So I'm going to use our half cup measure, and I'm going to put half a cup of dried cranberries. That's what I have on hand, but if you want to use raisins, you can get freeze-dried strawberries. You don't want to use a wet fruit, right? You want to use a dried fruit because otherwise it'll make everything mushy. So just keep that in mind. So this is dried, so it is a fruit, but we want to be careful, right, with dried fruits. They're much more concentrated, right? So the calories are much more concentrated. So you just don't need as much of it to get the same amount of calories. And so you're missing the water, which is also kind of something that you would like. So again, you're going to fill this up to the top, and then we're going to put that in with the others, right? So then we've got our cranberries. And the final thing is our mix-ins. So that will be a 1/4 cup, right? So this is our 1/4 cup measure. So for my mix-in, I am going to do dried coconut. So dried coconut is actually a fruit, so I'm actually a little bit more fruit to it. It's a little bit different though, right, than the other kind of fruit. You could also add like a dark, you could add like dark chocolate chips. You want to have the darker kind. It has higher in antioxidants rather than like a milk chocolate, because it also has a lot more sugar in it. So you want kind of the less sugar, higher antioxidants in terms of the chocolate that you pick. Okay, so I'm gonna put so again, I'm gonna make a 1/4 cup, right? So I have that kind of level, and put that in there. And then we're gonna stir it together, and we'll have our trail mix. So one thing, like as I talked about trail mix, is that it's pretty high in calories for the amount, for the little pieces. So you don't want to eat like this whole bowl of it, because that is just going to be way too much for anybody. So you want to just kind of be cautious in terms of your amount. You're going to pay attention to your portion size, right? So we talk in our class, right? We talk about the portion for a snack is what fits in your hand, and the serving size for this is a 1/4 cup, right? So we can use our 1/4 cup measure, right? You kind of want that then to kind of show us, right? So that's the 1/4 cup. And you can see, right, it really fills up my hand. My hand is very full. That's a pretty nice hearty snack. So one thing you may want to think about as you prepare to eat this, because I know sometimes for me, if I just have something in front of me and I'm eating, you don't want to be able to do that, right? So you want to portion it out perhaps. So one thing you can do, right, you can get little bags like this, right, little baggies, and you can just measure it out. So you have, right, so you have one little measure, right? So you just put that, and so then okay, this is my portion size. I'm only going to eat this one. This is my snack for the afternoon. And so I can just grab that when it's done, I'm done, and I know what I've eaten. So that's a great way to do it. Now to store this, you could store this in, again, a Tupperware with a lid, but I'm going to just store mine, again, in a baggie, and then I can just kind of keep it in the fridge to keep it fresh, and it'll last in there for quite a while. So this makes quite a number of servings. So it might be wise to put them in the baggies. But so that's what we've made today, right? So we have made our overnight oats, and then we've made our trail mix. And so next time we're going to make something new, and I'll see you then. Thanks.